In Look East this lunchtime, patients injured by an Essex surgeon are calling for the true extent of his malpractice to be made public. On International Women's Day, the story of the first woman to have a licence to train horses in Newmarket.
And the wintry weather continues with a chance of snow for some of us. I'll have all the details at the end of the programme.
Hello, first this lunchtime. Patients injured by an Essex surgeon say the true extent of his malpractice needs to be made public. Jeremy Parker operated on thousands of patients at both NHS and private hospitals in Colchester. He was banned from practising last month, but more than 100 of his former patients are taking legal action. Our health correspondent Nikki Fox reports.
Oh God, that's the wrong way to go down.
Tanya Walton and Julianne Cobbold were led to believe surgery would help. But they now rely on the strongest painkillers just to get through the day.
Takes a lot out of me.
Their knee operations at Colchester Hospital were performed by Jeremy Parker.
He'd give me a pair of leg braces, send me away and say, I'll see you in 3 months. Since the operation, it's like put my life on hold. The highlight of my week is once a week going to Tesco's in the wheelchair.
But Julianne is not alone. The BBC's seen letters referring to a report that said Mr Parker carried out unnecessary surgery as early as 2012. Over a decade later, he was banned from operating. A tribunal found he'd seriously harmed patients and was persistently dishonest.
It wasn't just Colchester Hospital where he worked. He also performed operations at this nearby private hospital where some NHS patients were sent. Between April 2017 and March 2020, he carried out 705 operations, more than double the national average.
The Oaks Hospital says it's reviewing his patients. Colchester Hospital commissioned the Royal College of Surgeons to investigate, but it won't make the findings public. Tanya Walton was one of his last patients. The week before he was removed from the medical register, he replaced her knee.
I was a young patient. You've got 60-year-olds walking around and I'm in pain and I'm thinking, is it me? Can I just not take pain? What the hell's wrong? But now it all adds up. It wasn't anything I did.
Colchester Hospital says it can't comment while legal proceedings are ongoing, but says Mr Parker hasn't worked there since 2019. He said he would not comment. The scale of the negligence is still unclear. Nikki Fox, BBC Look East.
It's been revealed the government has contacted Braintree District Council in Essex about using Wethersfield Airfield to house migrants. A council spokesperson says the government approached them on Monday about the former RAF base, but they're seeking clarification and have no more details. Well, Simon Deadman joins us now with the latest. Simon.
Braintree Council heard from the government overnight Monday. It's not known if they're considering a detention centre here or a facility where asylum seekers and migrants can freely come and go. And it's access to this site that's really upset a lot of the local people I've spoken to, because the nearest village with a GP surgery is 30 to 40 minutes walk down narrow country lanes. There's no bus service to get there currently. The nearest supermarket is 9 miles away in Braintree. And the local council leader, speaking in a personal capacity, says he is not keen for asylum seekers to come here because of the suitability, but has warned that it could be quite difficult to resist the government if they are determined to house them here. And there is some infrastructure on this site, like former barracks and military housing, that could potentially be used. But not everyone in government is in favour. The Foreign Secretary, who happens to be the local MP for this area, James Cleverly, has contacted the Immigration Minister, saying that there isn't the infrastructure here to house asylum seekers and questions the suitability as well. The Home Office has told the BBC it doesn't usually comment on individual sites which would house asylum seekers or potentially house asylum seekers, and it says it's working with local authorities to accommodate asylum seekers and trying to reduce the number of hotels that are being used.
Simon, thank you very much. Now, have you heard of the racehorse trainer Ellen Challoner? No? Well, you're not alone. Very few have. She was the first woman to have a licence to train horses in Newmarket. To mark International Women's Day today, it's been announced a new race, the Ellen Challoner Stakes, will be run in her honour at this year's Guineas Festival. Tom Williams has been looking at her remarkable story.
All alone in an unmarked grave at Newmarket Cemetery lies Ellen Challoner, a trailblazing trainer and the first woman to hold a permit to train racehorses in 1886.
I believe she was a very formidable lady. She was very well known in Newmarket, not just because she was a lady trainer, but I believe she was a very good judge of horseflesh.
Delving into the archives at the National Horse Racing Museum, the 1891 census recorded Ellen's profession as a trainer. She even tasted success at Royal Ascot.
She would have been regarded as a little bit of a curiosity, and when she first took over as trainer and her son was apprenticed to her, there was a controversy that actually he couldn't claim his apprentice's allowance in a race because the son couldn't possibly be apprenticed to a woman. So she was definitely coming up against people who would rather that she wasn't training, but at the same time many people also really respected her.
She retired in 1894, but it wasn't until the 1960s that a High Court ruling officially gave women the right to train racehorses in Britain. Today, still only 20% are women.
They've probably felt, they just let it go and gave her a licence because she came from a racing background and her husband had died. So he thought, rather the paperwork, it's easy enough just to hand it over. But after she retired from training, they wouldn't grant a woman trainer.
At the Guineas this year, a new race, the Ellen Challoner Stakes. There's also a campaign to erect a headstone, a proper one, for a pioneer, once forgotten, now remembered for her unique role in British racing. Tom Williams, BBC Look East.
Well, what an amazing lady. Well, let's get the weather now. Here's Alex.
Thanks, Mel. Hello there. Wintry scenes this morning with snow for some of us. This photograph was taken in Essex and there's a potential for some more of the white stuff. How much is going to be quite difficult to predict, but certainly all areas in the region now covered by a snow and ice warning until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Potentially 1 to 2 centimetres, and locally we could get as much as 2 to 5 centimetres, and it's tied into this weather front here, just lurking to the south with that milder Atlantic air pushing into that cold Arctic air. Now what's happening at the moment is most of that is falling as rain, a bit of a wintry concoction because it's certainly very cold out there. 2 to 4 Celsius, factor in that keen easterly wind and feeling bitterly cold this afternoon. So what we can expect this afternoon is for that weather front to gradually track northwards, mainly falling as rain, but as those temperatures drop away this evening it could turn back to sleet and snow in places, giving the chance of some settling snow, but not necessarily for everyone. So it is going to be quite difficult to know where the biggest impacts will be. But by the end of the night, it's cleared out of the way. There'll be more cloud around, so not quite so cold as last night, but still very icy out there. And then a second chance at some snow, although the wintry action tied into this area of low pressure, probably further north, but that's not to say that we might get some settling snow across our region. So expect some outbreaks of rain, sleet and snow. Again, a bit of a wintry concoction through the day tomorrow. Still feeling very cold out there. It will gradually track northwards, but temperatures perhaps not quite so low, but still certainly the wind chill factor. And then a bit of a sting in its tail possibly for Friday. So there could be some more wintriness on Friday. And then it is looking pretty unsettled as we approach the weekend, but milder. Mel.
Alex, thank you very much. Well, that's all from us for now. Angie will be back with Look East at 6:30. Have a good afternoon.